Have you ever wondered how a neighborhood really changes? It's not always with a big construction project. Sometimes it starts with something much smaller. Today, we're digging into a local zoning battle that tells a huge story about how our communities get shaped and who really gets to decide their future.
So, let's put you in the middle of it. A developer wants to build something new on your street, something that changes the rules. What happens next? What can you even do? Well, for one community, that exact question just became their reality.
And believe it or not, this whole thing didn't start with a bang. It didn't start with bulldozers or big announcements. The spark for this entire passionate conflict was just a single piece of paper, a simple flyer.
Okay, so let's go right back to the beginning. Let's talk about that notice, the one that let everybody know something was up.
So here's the breakdown of what that flyer said. The proposal was for a new commercial development right in the heart of a neighborhood near East 27th and Polk Street. It encouraged residents to, write your thoughts and get them in before October 21st, 2025. Seems pretty straightforward, right? Just a standard notice. But what was hiding under the surface was the real issue.
Because once people started talking, it became really clear this fight wasn't about one particular business. Nope, the real fight was about something way bigger and a whole lot more permanent.
And here is the absolute key to this whole thing. On the surface, you might think it's about whether people like the specific business that wants to operate there. But the deeper issue, the one that got everyone mobilized, is the legal act of rezoning. We're talking about a permanent change, taking residential homes and legally reclassifying them as commercial property, forever.
So it's super important to get what rezoning actually means. It's the official process to change the rulebook for a piece of land. And once you rezone a property from residential to commercial, that's it. Those new rules apply to anyone who owns it in the future. The stakes couldn't be higher.
So, once everyone understood those stakes, the case against this change started to come together, and it's really built on three main arguments from the residents.
Okay, argument number one is all about losing their safety net. Right now, there are protections in place because it's a residential area. Rezoning to commercial? That rips all of those protections away. They're calling it a Pandora's box, because once it's open, anything could move in next, and they'd have no say. Their neighborhood's future would be totally vulnerable.
Argument number two is a big one. They're saying this proposal actually breaks the city's own rules. They point to existing zoning codes that were specifically created to protect neighborhoods just like theirs. So their claim is pretty bold. They're saying the city is getting ready to violate its own laws.
And they've got the receipt, so to speak. They point directly to the city code, section 13031, which says you can't have a commercial property that's only accessible by cutting through a residential street. For them, it's an open and shut case. The proposal just doesn't follow the rules.
And the third argument brings it all home to daily life. We're talking about a huge increase in traffic on quiet streets. And that's not just an annoyance, right? That's a real safety concern for people walking, for cyclists, for kids playing outside. They feel that the entire quiet character of their neighborhood is on the line.
Now, all three of these arguments, they all feed into this one big underlying fear. It's a concept that really drives the whole opposition. They call it commercial creep. So what exactly is commercial creep? Think of it like a slow-moving invasion. It's this gradual process where business development just creeps into residential areas. It's not one big project. It happens one property at a time until one day you look around and the neighborhood you knew is just gone.
And this is how they see it playing out, like a line of dominoes. It all starts with just one property getting rezoned. But bam, that first domino falls and it sets a legal precedent. That makes it way harder to fight the next request and the one after that. And one by one, the dominoes fall and the residential character of the neighborhood just erodes away.
So with this fear of a domino effect fueling them, the community is now focused on what they do next. They're turning all of this concern into a real call to action. And there's a real sense of urgency here because the clock is ticking. Remember that deadline from the flyer? October 21st, 2025. That's the window they have to make their voices heard before the decision gets made.
So the call to action is simple and direct. Residents are being urged to get loud. They're telling their neighbors, show up in person, send letters and emails, get on the phone, do whatever it takes to tell the city officials what you want for the future of your neighborhood.
Because at the end of the day, when you strip away all the legal codes and the traffic studies, this whole fight boils down to one incredibly powerful question that the residents themselves are asking. The issue is simply, What do we want our neighborhood to be like in 1, 5, or 10, or 15 years? And that's a question that every single community, maybe even yours, has to answer for itself.